Good morning. This is Eric Mashinsky with the Gold Investment Letter. Today is Sunday, June 26th. You'll receive this tonight or tomorrow morning. I just wanted to do a really quick video update and plug on Patriot Gold Corporation. You'll see some content updates in the email body about recent blog update, shareholder update from the president, Trevor Newton. And just a few words about this junior, because I've not really talked about it too much recently, but it's definitely time to put the spotlight on Patriot. They are a very unique gold junior company. Excuse me. We're also seeing some liquidity in the stock, so I thought it was a good time for new subscribers to hear about one of my favorite gold juniors. But really, this deal, Patriot Gold, is my largest personal junior gold investment. I've invested really almost for 3 years in Patriot. It started in a bigger way back in early 2014 when I invested in my first private placement in the company, along with a group of us that basically financed Patriot up until this time. And my ownership level is pretty significant in a sense that it's much higher than my normal position in a gold junior. I own just under 5% of the company. I haven't had to file a 13D yet, but it's not far off. I think I'm going to probably maintain my position in the 4% range or so. But I have some warrants and things that, depending on how it all shakes out with timing, I could become a 5% holder and insider. But regardless, 4% of the company at this point, it's a pretty good position. I own, well over 2 million shares of stock. So I'm in this thing for the long haul, and I'm in it for a home run, and I'm in it for making, in the millions on the stock. I'm not here to, get involved short term. I've been in it for a while already, but it's really starting to hit its stride. So really quickly, Patriot owns a significant royalty in the Moss mine in Arizona. This is a mine that I toured in 2014 with Trevor, who was the chairman at that time, now is the president. Moss has had over $35 million Canadian put into it in the last 4 years by their partner, Northern Vertex, symbol NEE. The way that was structured is they were supposed to spend up to $8.5 million, provide a bankable feasibility study, and then it would skip to a 70-30 JV, with Patriot having 30, Vertex having 70. What's happened is they just signed a deal less than 60 days ago, which I think is a win-win. Vertex now owns the project 100%. Patriot converted to a 3% net smelter royalty, which means that they get 3% of all the gold production off the top of it. So costs can end up running into too high of levels that hurt the profitability of the operator, but Patriot gets the 3% off the top, no matter what. That's why I think a lot of investors really like these royalty plays. In addition to that, they got $1.2 million in cash, as well as about 1 million shares in Northern Vertex stock, which is trading at about 40 cents. So Patriot, even though this has got well under a $10 million market cap at 20 cents a share, they've got well over $1 million in cash right now. They have a number of warrants that are really in the money. So somebody like myself who owns warrants at 10 cents or under, I'm going to actually start exercising those soon. This summer I will start to exercise them. So that's more cash right in the bank for them. I think they're going to end up with closer to 2 million in cash by the fall, which is a really nice position to work with such a low burn rate. The reason I was initially attracted to this deal was Bruner drill results that I saw there. That's a Nevada project I'll get to in a second. And the fact is that their burn rate was incredibly low for a public company. They were basically burning $250,000 a year. That'll go up a little bit now, but they kept it really, really tight. But they've had over $40 million spent on their two primary projects, Bruner and Moss, the past 4 or 5 years. So they spent and raised no money to do all the development and the drilling, but they've got the interest in the project. So it's a beautiful model. The Brunner project is a similar JV situation with a company called Canamex, CSQ, on the Canadian exchange. They had to spend $8 million, no bankable feasibility, but they so they did get to the 70-30 JV. I think Patriot's going to want to do a similar deal that they did with Vertex. The difference is Vertex is able to raise capital. When I toured the Moss mine, these guys they do a good job. They've run exploration plays into mines and developed them into mines in the past, sold their companies for a lot of money, the core group there. And they've been able to raise capital all through the bear market. And so they're going to take that thing into production at Moss in 2017 into phase 2. There's already been 5,000 ounces of gold produced in phase 1. They will ramp that up. And the PEA on, just to get back to the Moss real quick, is about 45,000 ounces of gold per year. So in that range, with about a $1,300 gold price, Patriot, you can see Patriot getting $2 million a year around that in cash flow from the royalty on Moss. So this is not just a one-time payment deal for them, and it's not some long-term, never going to happen production plan on Moss. They're going to end up getting cash flow, I would guess, by mid-17, maybe somewhere around there. Vertex is strong. They're going to be able to raise the money. They've already gotten a lot of bank debt and backing from Macquarie, so they're in good shape. Canamex, however, is in worse shape financially. They did a debenture deal about a year ago, I think, year and a half ago, so they could move the project forward, but it was highly diluted to their share structure. So their share price has not really moved at all from a nickel since this bull market started in January, which, I look at those things closely to see if there's some alpha that can be captured, but I don't like their share structure. I think that they've got some big money invested in them. Hecla Mining and Gold Resource Corp wanted access to the Brunner mine, but they have not continued to support them. This financing with the debentures is highly dilutive because the investors out of Europe can convert at a very low stock price. So I think they're well over 100 million shares outstanding. It actually might be approaching 200 million. So I don't know what they're going to do and what their plan is to move Brunner forward. But Brunner is probably one of the most exciting discoveries in Nevada in the past decade, if not the best. Very high grade, blue skies, lots of potential. They need to do more drilling. That 43-101 resource is a maiden resource. It's very small. But there's a lot of gold there. We've talked to geologists that in the big companies were attracted because this will be a mine in the future. And it's just a question of who's the one to take it forward. It could play in Patriots' favor. This is why they're in a great position. Worst case scenario, they get a 2% NSR. They don't have to put another dime into the deal. And they don't have to worry about it. However, if Canamex can't move it forward, there might be an opportunity for Patriot to do something in terms of either getting that project back and owning it, some new deal. I don't know if that'll be the case. I think they would love to do another NSR conversion into some cash and maybe some equity in Canamex. But we want to see if there's a strong plan there. But it's a great asset. So 2 terrific assets. They have 2 prospective earlier stage prospects in Nevada called Vernal and Windy Peak, which I'm expecting they'll do some drilling on Vernal sometime soon. They're cashed up. They can look at doing some drilling. They're looking at new projects to acquire right now, new deals. They're building out. You'll see them build out the board, I think, later this year, and I'm looking for a new CEO, full-time CEO that can come in and build the company. Trevor Newton runs it. Bob Cole's chairman of the board. So they've got the team in place to do whatever they really need to, but I think they've got so much dry powder right now. They're going to bring in a substantial CEO that can end up really scaling this thing. So you've got a cash flow positive junior going forward with, cash in the bank, good share structure, just over 50 million shares out right now, fully diluted. It's higher with the warrants and things, but very manageable numbers. And this is an undiscovered stock. The biggest catalyst I can talk about is going to be a Canadian listing, which is going to be approved any day, any week. They've gone through everything. That's going to bring a lot more liquidity into the stock. We can really, if they tell this story in Canada, I know I've got dozens of subscribers that couldn't buy it on the OTC that have said when it's in Canada, they're going to want to buy some stock. I think that could really boost the share price nicely and consistently, just to have that flexibility and the liquidity. So, and also just some promotion, some IR. Patriot hasn't done anything, and they've got a great story to tell. And when they start to tell it, there's going to be a really good reaction. So I think it's a good time right now for those of you who don't have Patriot or don't know about it. Take a look at it, and if you find it feasible, I think you can still buy the stock up to a quarter. My long-term projection on this is 50 cents to $1 for now. But this thing, they could end up putting some really sexy deals in play here early in the cycle, and this thing could be a really terrific little story. It already is. So that's Patriot Gold. Wanted to give you guys a heads up on this deal, which I'm heavily invested in, really like a lot, and think we'll make a lot of money. So that's it for today, guys. Have a great week.